Hi everyone. We took a vacation in Japan with a 3-night stay in Tokyo before joining the celebrity Millennium for a 12-night cruise to Osaka, Kyoto, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Jeju Island in South Korea, and Kogoshima and Shimuzu. The whole vacation was organised by Iglu Cruise in the UK as a package, but on reflection we would have liked a longer time in Tokyo. This episode concentrates on our DIY trip around Tokyo. We arrived at Narita Airport, where we were met by a tour guide and directed to our minibus for the 2-hour journey to our hotel, where we stayed on the 23rd floor. This hotel in Sunshine City is close to Ikebukuro Station, so it is well located for transport links across the city, and we were given a 24-hour pass for the following day to cover the main transport network on trains, buses and the metro. The room was quite sparse, with no wardrobe space at all. However, the bathroom didn't disappoint, with a Japanese toilet that is amazing and reaches all the places that other toilets cannot reach. The next morning we got up and made an early 6:30 AM start in order to explore the city. The streets were so quiet at this time of day. We walked to a bus stop about 10 minutes away and caught the bus to Sensoji to arrive there before the crowds of tourists arrived. We began our tour at the Kaminyari Gate. Originally built in 942, it is the main gate of Sensoji. Statues of Fujin, the god of wind, and Rajin, the god of thunder, were enshrined here to guard the temple from natural disasters. The gate was burned down in a massive fire in December 1865. The current gate was rebuilt 95 years later. The gate leads on to Nakamise Street, which is one of the oldest shopping streets in Japan. Traditional Japanese toys, cakes and other souvenirs are sold here. Next we see the Hozomon Gate. Originally built in 942 and renewed in 1649, the current gate was rebuilt in 1964. Beyond the Hozomon Gate is the Kanondo Hall, built by the 3rd Tokugawa shogun. It is designated a national treasure. It was destroyed in the Great Tokyo Air Raid on March 10, 1945, and was rebuilt in 1958. This hall is divided into the Najin inner sanctum and the Geijin outer sanctum. The statue of the Bodhisattva Kannon sits in a miniature temple in the middle of the inner sanctum, but photography is not allowed inside, unfortunately. To the left is the 5-storied pagoda, which was first built in 942, but it was also burnt to the ground during the Great Tokyo Air Raid in 1945. It was rebuilt in 1973. Between the Hozomon Gate and the Kanondo Hall are the omikuji. These are boxes that contain slips of paper that will predict your fortune. For a small donation of 100 yen or 50 pence, you can ask about anything you want an answer to, but you must not tell anyone your request. You then shake a drum containing sticks called bikujibo and take a stick out of the drum. Then you match the Japanese number on the stick with the number on a drawer, which will contain your fortune slip. I spent ages trying to match the Japanese numbers, only to find that the normal English style numbers were on the end of the stick. What a plonker! My request turned out to be bad fortune, but nobody wants bad fortune, so there is a place to leave your bad fortune behind. Getting the sticks out of the drum can also be a little troublesome, as demonstrated here by Margot. There is obviously a knack to this, but Margot just couldn't find it. She had all sorts of problems getting the stick to come out of the box, but she ended up with good fortune in the end anyway, so all is good. To the south is the Bentendo Hall, which houses a statue of the grey-haired female deity Saravati, and the Bentendo Hall bell, which was recast in 1692. The bell became known amongst local residents as the Time Bell. To the west of the main hall there are two more small halls, both fronted by a stream and koi ponds. The Yogodo Hall contains 8 Buddhas. The Owashimado Hall was built around the turn of the 17th to 18th centuries and refurbished in 1994. I don't look it in the picture, but these koi were all around 80 centimetres long. From Sensoji, we needed to take the metro to the Imperial Palace. The metro system in Tokyo has all signage duplicated in English. Markings on the platform floors tell you where the carriages will stop, and sometimes there may be 2 or 3 colours denoting each route. These markings tell you where to queue for the door on the train. Everyone in Japan forms an orderly queue at these points. One thing we found surprising in the metro was the lack of elevators and escalators, so we're ready to climb a lot of steps. Google Maps is a must, as it works out your route from A to B in Tokyo using the bus and train network. It even tells you which platform to go to, and the best carriage to get onto for easy exiting at the next station. To navigate around Tokyo's transport system, Google Maps really is a must. And to use Google Maps, you need mobile data. Our phones accept eSIMs, so we researched the various eSIMs available and found that Maya Mobile was the cheapest for the whole of Asia, including Japan and South Korea, and also for Japan alone. It is also very flexible. You can purchase the data plan up to 30 days before you leave, and during the purchase you can choose your actual arrival date for the eSIM to become activated. So you have data as soon as you turn your phone on after your flight, which is a major benefit. If you would like to reward us for this video, you could like and subscribe and maybe leave a comment. You could also follow our link to Maya Mobile in the video description or using the QR code shown, which will give us a small kickback for introducing you at no cost to yourself. As a general rule, most phones manufactured after 2020 will work with eSIMs, but please ensure your phone is compatible with eSIMs before you purchase. So now, armed with Google Maps and an eSIM, we've moved on to the Imperial Palace Gardens. During our visit, there was a function in the palace, so there were no tours, but you can book a free ticket to look inside the palace online. On entering the palace from Takebashi Station, we first encountered the Edo Castle ruins. We walked up to the top of the ruin to find there was nothing there, just a grass viewing area. We then walked around the park, admiring the blossoming cherry trees, and eventually came to an exhibition building which had a model of the Edo Castle, so you could see what it was like when it was built in 1547. It burnt down in 1873. The current Imperial Palace was constructed in 1888 to replace it. The grounds around the palace are beautiful and quite extensive. They are also very peaceful, considering the vast metropolis beyond the palace walls. Tokyo is the highest populated city in the world, with over 30 million inhabitants in the city alone. That is about half the population of England and Scotland crammed into an area measuring 25 miles by 30 miles. No wonder there is so much diversity in this incredible city. From the Imperial Palace, we walked to Otomachi Station and went on to Harajuku Station to take a walk around Meiji Jingu and the Meiji Jingu Gaion. Gaion means garden. Meiji Jingu is one of the Shinto shrines in Tokyo. It was established in 1920 to commemorate Emperor Meiji and Empress Shokan, who founded modern Japan. The forest is man-made and aimed to be a self-regenerating natural forest. While walking through the forest, you come to rows of sake and wine barrels. The sake barrels are offered each year to the shrine to commemorate Emperor Meiji and Empress Shokan by the National Sake Brewers Association. The wine barrels were offered to the shrine by the wineries of Bourgogne in France and were declared sacred. Later, you pass through the largest wooden torii in Japan. It is 12 meters high and 17 meters wide and built from Japanese cypress. Just past the gate, you come to the inner garden, which was once imperial property and was commissioned by Emperor Meiji in part for Empress Shokan. In the garden, you will find Kiyamasa's well and the iris garden, which was not in bloom during our visit. After the garden, you arrive at the shrine itself, entering through the torii gate, where the Japanese bow to show respect before they walk through. They never walk in the center of the gate. On the left is the Temizusha, a building for ritual purification. People of any faith are welcome to take part in the purification ritual, which is done before entering the Honden, or main shrine, which is the most sacred building in the Meiji Jingu shrine. Many rituals are carried out daily inside the inner sanctum. The Honden and the buildings around it are of Japanese cypress wood, while the roofs are clad with copper. Originally completed in 1920, the main shrine was burnt down during the air raids at the end of World War II. The present building was completed in 1958. You may be beginning to realize that many of the shrines, temples and torii gates in Japan are not original. This is because the original structures have been damaged over time by fires, wars and earthquakes. However, the structures have been lovingly rebuilt to be as close to the original structure as possible. You may be beginning to realize that many of the shrines, temples and torii gates in Japan are not original because the original structures have been damaged over time by fires, wars and earthquakes. As you can probably tell from the pictures, the jet lag was starting to kick in again, so we headed back to the hotel for some lunch and a short nap before heading out again at about 5 p.m. to go to Shinjuku Gyeon National Garden. In cherry blossom season, there is a charge to enter the National Garden, with a concession for the elderly, and at 63 we were accepted as being elderly. The park has some beautifully manicured gardens with lakes and ponds containing large koi carp, amazingly sculpted trees and traditional pagodas. The blossom was just starting to bloom and the park looks magnificent for our visit. We spent around an hour here before catching a bus to Shibuya Scramble Crossing. This crossing is world renowned as the busiest crossing in Tokyo. During its busiest times, an estimated 1,000 to 2,500 people forge their way across this intersection every 2 minutes, enough to quickly fill up a football stadium. The phenomenon gave rise to its nickname Scramble, as pedestrians cross from all directions. Whilst you cross, you are concentrating on avoiding the people coming towards you, when suddenly a bike or pedestrian crosses in front of you from side to side. It is mind-boggling. This speeded up video gives you a good idea of what it feels like to make the crossing. Directly connected to Shibuya Station is Shibuya Scramble Square, which is a 47-storey building. The first 11 floors are a department store and the 12th and 13th floor are restaurants, with a viewing area to look at the crossing from above. We were there at sunset, when the crossing lights up like Piccadilly Circus. There is an amazing choice of restaurants here, where you can eat without reservations. You just need to queue on the seating provided outside each restaurant. We went to Moheiji and had a Japanese dining experience of monjayaki for the equivalent of £20 each, including drinks. Monjayaki is a local food originating in Tokyo, and it is often regarded as a type of okonomiyaki. But unlike okonomiyaki, it is thin, chewy and sticky. It consists of a flour and egg batter with vegetables such as cabbage added to the dough, and finely chopped meat and seafood is then added, and it is baked like a crepe on an iron plate, right in front of you at your individual table. It was delicious. The rule here is that each person has to order a separate dish, but to be honest, one between us would have been enough. We would really recommend this experience. To finish off our day in Tokyo, we had planned to go to the government building to see the lighting spectacular there and go to the top of the tower. But due to the popularity of the restaurant, we had queued a while for our meal and run out of time. So the meal brought our free day in Tokyo to an end. We could always do the government building the next evening. Please give us a like, or add a comment, or better still, why not subscribe? Thanks for watching, and safe travels.